Welcome back to Easy English Boost. In the previous video, we learned about the basic types of adjectives. In this part, we'll continue our learning and focus on two more important types. Today's topics are demonstrative adjectives and interrogative adjectives. Let's understand them one by one with clear explanations and simple examples. All right, let's explore what an adjective really is. An adjective is a special kind of word that helps us describe nouns or pronouns. It tells us more about people, places, or things, giving details like quality, quantity, number, size, color, shape, origin, or possession. In short, adjectives bring our words to life and make our sentences more vivid and interesting. Let's look at some examples now. A beautiful flower. An honest man. 3 apples. The Indian flag. A wooden table. Here the words beautiful, honest, 3, Indian, and wooden tell us something more about the nouns they describe. So these words are called adjectives because they add extra information about the noun. Now, let's learn about demonstrative adjectives. Demonstrative adjectives point out which noun we are talking about. They help us show distance, whether something is near or far, and also number, whether it is singular or plural. There are 4 demonstrative adjectives in English. This and that are used for singular nouns. They refer to one person or one object. These and those are used for plural nouns. They refer to more than one person or object. A demonstrative adjective always comes before a noun. It helps us clearly identify the specific item being talked about. These adjectives also show distance. This and these are used for things that are near. That and those are used for things that are far. Demonstrative adjectives also show number. This and that are used with singular nouns. These and those are used with plural nouns. They can also refer to space or time, not just objects. For example, this morning refers to the current time, and those days refers to a time in the past. Let's look at some examples of demonstrative adjectives. This is used for a singular noun that is near to us. Examples include this book, this child, and this pen. That is used for a singular noun that is far from us. Examples include that mountain, that chair, and that shop. These is used for plural nouns that are near to us. Examples include these bags, these students, and these flowers. Those is used for plural nouns that are far from us. Examples include those houses, those clothes, and those cars. Demonstrative adjectives help make our sentences more precise. For example, instead of saying the pen is expensive, saying this pen is expensive clearly tells us which pen we are talking about. Let's remember some key points about demonstrative adjectives. They are used before nouns, not alone. For example, this phone is correct, but this used alone becomes a pronoun, not an adjective. Demonstrative adjectives also show location, whether something is near or far. They also show number, whether we are talking about one thing or many things. Now, let's understand the difference between demonstrative adjectives and demonstrative pronouns. Demonstrative adjectives are used to modify a noun. They are always followed by a noun. For example, this idea, that moment, these cookies, and those remarks. Demonstrative pronouns, on the other hand, do not modify a noun. They are used to replace a noun. For example, this is amazing, that was unexpected, these are broken, and those were his words. Understanding this difference helps you use demonstratives accurately and confidently. Now, let's look at some common errors with demonstrative adjectives. First, be careful with singular and plural matching. These box is incorrect. The correct form is these boxes. Similarly, that keys is wrong. We should say those keys. Next, remember that uncountable nouns always need this or that, not plural demonstratives. These equipment is incorrect. The correct form is this equipment. In the same way, those furniture is wrong. We should say that furniture. Finally, don't confuse adjectives with pronouns. In this chair is broken, this is an adjective because it comes before a noun. But in this is broken, this is a pronoun because it replaces the noun. Now, let's move on to interrogative adjectives. An interrogative adjective is a word that asks a question and describes a noun at the same time. They are also called interrogative determiners. In English, there are only 3 interrogative adjectives: what, which, and whose. These words are always used before a noun, especially in questions. For example, what movie do you want to watch? Which dress should I buy? Whose notebook is on the table? We can also say, what hobby would you like to try next year? Which planet fascinates you the most? And whose phone is ringing right now? So remember, interrogative adjectives help us ask clear questions while giving information about the noun. Now, let's understand the difference between interrogative adjectives and interrogative pronouns. Interrogative adjectives are used to modify a noun. They are always followed by a noun. For example, which topic should we start with? What flavors do they have? Whose jacket is this? On the other hand, interrogative pronouns are used to replace a noun. They are followed directly by a verb. For example, which is better? What happened? Whose is this? So remember, if the word comes before a noun, it is an interrogative adjective. If it stands alone and replaces the noun, it is an interrogative pronoun. Now, let's understand the difference between interrogative adjectives and interrogative adverbs. Interrogative adjectives are what, which, and whose. They are used before a noun, and the answer will be a noun. For example, what subject do you enjoy? The answer is math. Interrogative adverbs include why, where, when, and how. They do not describe a noun. Instead, the answer will be an adverb or an adverb phrase. For example, when do you leave? The answer is in the evening. Where is she going? The answer is to the airport. Understanding this difference makes forming questions much easier. Next, let's look at interrogative adjectives in indirect questions. Sometimes, a question is hidden inside a sentence. These are called indirect questions. In indirect questions, interrogative adjectives like which and whose are still used before a noun. For example, she explained which project needed more time. He wants to know whose idea was selected. These sentences are not direct questions, but they still use interrogative adjectives correctly. So remember, even in indirect questions, interrogative adjectives continue to describe nouns. Let's now understand why interrogative adjectives matter. Interrogative adjectives help us ask clear and specific questions, which is very important in both speaking and writing. One of the most common mistakes learners make is confusing whose with whose. Remember this simple rule. Whose means who is or who has. Whose shows possession. For example, whose bag is this? Incorrect. Whose bag is this? Correct. If you cannot expand whose to who is or who has, then it is the wrong choice. Keep this rule in mind, and your questions will always sound correct and clear. In this video, we learned what adjectives are, and we also explored demonstrative and interrogative adjectives with clear examples. In the next video, we'll move on to more types of adjectives and make our English even more clear and expressive. Keep practicing, and I'll see you in the next part. You've done an amazing job today. If you're still watching and haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button, like, share, and subscribe. Learning English is easy, fun, and exciting with Easy English Boost. Stay tuned for the next video where we'll continue our journey to master English together.